Hello everybody and welcome to the latest episode of the Viking Chats, and I am delighted to once again be joined with Miss Annika Deckers, my partner in crime, the lady who brings sense and sensibility to everything we do.
Debatable.
You know, so we're back. And so we wanted to have a chat about a couple of things. We had a busy industry social calendar last week.
We had a fantastic
social
calendar,
quite a lot of fun. We had quite a lot of fun. So we had, on the Thursday, we had the inaugural Kerfufflecon. From the shy and diminishing and softly spoken Mr. Simon Whale, aided by his collaborators and enablers, I think we should call them Sarah Blair and David Mintz. And then on the Friday, we blasted down to delightful Dorking.
To the Denbies Wine Estate.
To the Denbies Wine Estate, where we attended the annual Agents Giving Ball and everything that ensued. So we have a little bit of a chat about really that. Part of what I wanted to talk about is why we get involved with these things, and how, you know, we feel that's kind of quite an important part of our industry and what we do. So without further ado, so Kerfufflecon now, Anne sadly can't really talk much about the day because didn't make it along. But to be fair, that's because she was stuck in our base office doing deals.
I did try so hard, you know, but that day was just one of those days where the deals kept
updates were like,
and we cannot complain about that.
No,
so
no.
I happily...
Business does come first. So as much as we had 2 days of industry dalliances, business still got done. So we had a very good Thursday in the office. So I'll talk about the day. I was there primarily wearing my cap as the depository with Carla. We were one of the sponsors of the event as the depository. We were a minor sponsor for the event, but we were really, really happy and delighted to support Simon and the team and the whole Kerfuffle team with their endeavour to deliver another conference into the industry calendar. Thankfully, one that doesn't fall between October and December. So that was a great one. Nice to have something out of season. Nice to have a summery conference. So that was really nice.
It was a bit hot.
He was toasty.
It was very toasty.
This man, this colouring, this DNA doesn't do heat well. But I was bloody relieved that the event took place at Wembley Stadium. Now, if any of you attended the original Property Mark 1, that was done at like Wembley Arena. This was the bona fide football Wembley Stadium, and I have to say, from a kind of impression point of view, what an event. So in the main part of the building, the event was spread out over primarily over, I think, 3 or 4 floors. So you had like registration with the strictest security ever I've seen in my life. Obviously, national symbol stadium. So any event going on there, they are like hawks. So literally every lady or anyone, but primarily ladies, going in and out with bags. You had to be searched every time you came back into the building. So going for a cheeky cigarette took twice as long as expected. Security was really strict. But that said, it still ran really smoothly. Then we had kind of the second floor, the Bobby Moore suite, which was where all of the sponsors and trade stands were. And that was an amazing space. Obviously, the event was headed up by the lead sponsors Repeat and Payprop, so congrats to them. Goes to show there is still some friendship still remaining between Mr. Whale and the Repeat clan, and it was great to see them back it. But it was a very early start. I think we had to have our stand set up ready for 8 a.m. because
did you make it?
Just.
I was looking at your updates thinking, I wonder if he's going to get there. Because this is Wembley and the North Circular, you've got to transfer.
Yeah, it was tight. It definitely didn't help the night before Arlo decided he was going to have a danger nap at about 6:30 in the evening.
Lethal. Lethal.
Yeah, so basically started his day again at about 7:30 in the evening. So I think he fell asleep at 5 to 2. My alarm was set for 5:30. So it was an interesting start to the day. But no, got over there, not quite as timely as I had planned originally, but got over there. Unusually for conferences, which usually start about 9ish, Kerfuffle and Whaley made the decision to have a VIP start at 8 o'clock with a special talk with Josh Vegan and a little pre-tour of the supplier area. So yeah, that kind of went against my feelings. I have to say, I often with these conferences moan and rant about why they have to start so early.
I mean, let's not forget we start at 10 a.m. Monday to Friday. We are not an early agent either.
Part of my thinking is the fact that most of these conferences are in London, right? So we don't have to come far.
No.
But agents come from across the whole country. And when you've got a conference starting at 8 or even 9 o'clock in the morning,
you either have to come the night before or you're up from 3,
so you're
4
adding a big expense on top of that bill ticket. But look, I get it. It's also that conflict of the conferences are desperately trying to deliver the most value they can, and the perception is the value is given in the amount of time and the amount of talks they can deliver, and so that means an early start and a late finish. But it was a really fun day. Supplier stand was great. There was some really great things. They ran a scavenger hunt competition where agents could go around and scan QR codes on each of the stands. I think they're announcing those in the next week or so. And there's some amazing prizes in there. So that was a really clever way to get agents engaging with all the stands at the event. So that was a really nice touch. And then obviously they had their different tiers of sponsors. Obviously, because we were there for a stand, I didn't get to catch as many talks as I would have liked to.
So they kept the stands open throughout. Not like Women in a State Agency where you had a time at the stand and then everybody went into the theatre and followed the chats and then you came back. So you actually had to stay on your stand. So
Women in a State Agency is quite unique in that respect, in that because they do that single room auditorium and it's highly engaging content, they run, like you said, quite a simple, these are your times.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everyone is in there. And the nice thing is, I think, with Women in a State Agency, that includes everyone, suppliers and guests, everyone in the auditorium, listening to the talks, hearing the stories, hearing the journeys, hearing the adventures. I think Kerfuffle followed a more traditional format for suppliers in that respect, in that, you try and get away for talks that you find interesting, but people are moving around. So there are talks, I think they were running at least 2, if not 3 different rooms at certain times with different talks. So there were sometimes talks going on simultaneously or overlapping, and so you'd have people kind of spilling between them, and they'd finish at different times. So you had this constant kind of gentle buzz of people kind of floating around, moving between a talk.
Plus, you wouldn't walk away if you're talking to a client or a prospective client. You're not going to go hold on, I want to go and see the chat. You can wait.
I mean, I actually did have... So, Quirk and Watkin did a great panel, and we had agreed... It's not a secret anymore, so I can talk about this. We had agreed beforehand that we were going to do... Because it was all about... fundamentally, they were talking about how to drive up instructions and fees. And so it was talk about raining money. So we'd all agreed that there was going to be this fun thing of throwing and kind of shooting money everywhere, a part of their entrance. And this was all agreed in top secret, and we were recruited, and we were prepared, and we got messages.
Needless to say, you were part of it.
Half an hour before they even checked in, still good to go. Yeah, yes. I'll be there. And then 5 minutes before I was meant to be there, I started a really deep conversation with the client, and didn't turn up for the money thing. So, but from what I saw, it looks fab on the videos. The Quirky and Watkin ended up being their own money fountains, mainly, but I did see some reprobates like Chris Buckler get involved with that part of the shenanigans. But no, so things I heard great things about. Simon Gates, sorry. Changing people's names now. Simon Gates, as always, very engaging, lots of value. Josh Fegan, obviously the lead speaker of the day.
I was gutted I missed that.
Yeah.
I have to say, because I had said to Carl that I definitely want to catch that chat. And yeah.
He's, the first time I saw Josh speak was, God, probably 15 years ago.
Wow.
And it was an event put on by Rightmove. Don't completely hate you guys. It was an event. You know what I'm talking about. It was an event put on by Rightmove for their clients, and it was free to attend. And I remember thinking, like, how refreshing. That kind of Australian energy, and he is a bit of a pocket rocket, Josh. That he's not big in stature, but damn, does that guy bring the energy. And one of the things he said has always stuck with me. I remember he was saying one of the ways that way back then they absolutely dominated the market and stole market share was they introduced a thing back then that basically when someone would call up and for a valuation conversation and they'd have a valuation chat and they'd chat away, they'd take some details, they'd give them some advice. But before they ended the call, they'd find out exactly where the person was right there. Like, oh, are you at work right now? Where's your work? And they'd go, oh, actually, I'm at AT&T on Sydney Drive, whatever it was. The second they'd hung up the phone, they would order a bunch of flowers to be delivered instantly to that person within half an hour, saying, thank you so much for your time on the phone. It was such a privilege. It was such a joy. We hope we'll hear from you again and work with you. But, if not. And that really simple thing, that would not have been cheap, but they get good fees in Oz. I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying typical fees over there are more like 3 or 4% for a sales agent. So 3 or 4 times what your typical agent over here gets. And they also have upfront marketing fees as well over there. So that's another interesting thing. But very ballsy, no one else doing it, but what a way to make an instant impression with people. And that has always stuck with me. I'm sure there are other far more relatable and implementable things that he talked about. But the 15 years, every time I hear his name, every time I see his photo on a poster or a flyer or whatever about an industry event, it always brings me back to that story. And I think that's really exciting. So yeah, I had people rave about the Josh Fegan thing. Particularly, I think it was really nice to hear the people who'd purchased or been gifted VIP tickets in the morning and have made that extra effort. I heard some amazing things about it felt almost like a one-to-one. They said that morning session because it was a really small group. They got really dynamic content and they got to ask some really direct questions. So definitely something to think about for next year's Kerfufflecon. I'm kind of assuming there will be one. I imagine there will be. So yeah, just bear that in mind. It is an early start, but a lot of people raved about the value of that very special early morning session. Heard some nice things about Toby Martin's content. Good on Toby. God, if you don't know Toby Martin, what rock have you been under? But in short, video, social, AI helps you wrap your head around it from a guy who's worked in lettings for, I think, over 10 years and gets it and knows it and is now flipped it on its head. And then I, unsurprisingly, went and listened to the AI chat.
Of course.
Can't think why.
Of course.
Now, I think there's a really interesting debate happening around AI within industry events at the moment in terms of there were lots of people, and I really liked the chat. There were some really interesting points made. SJ from Greenhouse did not mince her words about what she thinks real AI is. And she was very clear about the fact that quality AI actually does the work. It doesn't create tasks. It doesn't go, oh, by the way, you now need to do this, and sets a reminder or an alert. It actually is built to go, oh, now this has happened. I can do this, and this before handing it back to the agent. And it was really nice to hear someone talk very specifically about what their perception was. And I think the general consensus within AI, some people call it agentic AI, is that we're heading into this phase where AI will do stuff. And then, you had other comments from the like of Ben Madden talking about around content. You had the guys from Bright Logic on the panel. So there were some interesting points made. I think the interesting thing, for Kerfuffle to think about next year is, I think, how you take that conversation on. Because I think at the moment, there's still a lot of conversations, and whilst there were some valid points made in that, there was a lot of conversation around attitudes around AI. No one walked out of that room going, aha, right, I'm going to plug this product in, or I'm going to go away and do X, Y, Z to figure out what product I need. And I think that is definitely something we're starting to see more and more with agents, is they're more and more open to the use of AI, but feel utterly overwhelmed by it. I mean, as much as agents thought they were overwhelmed being pitched 200 prop tech products like 2-3 years ago, you're now being presented with about 1,000 AI products with new ones coming out every day. So I would definitely say, I think in terms of that, maybe some more actionable stuff. I'd love to see some more kind of physical examples of things. I mean, I've seen some AI platforms and demos do stuff that just, I mean, the techie nerd in me just kind of tends to giggle. But I think there's stuff that when you put it in front of agents, actually show it what it can do rather than keep talking about it. I mean, look, putting you on the spot, like, obviously you're aware of the beast that is AI. We're using bits of it in the business. We've obviously just released our first AI tool in Depositary. But wearing your base agency owner kind of operations director kind of cap, what's your kind of thinking on AI at the moment?
So for me, I come from it from a complete different angle. So it's not necessarily about streamlining or changing tasks that took a long time into seconds. That automatically will happen if you're using the right prompts. For me, it's a perfect tool of taking the emotion out of certain interactions. So for example, as we all do in our industry, there's always times that we have to send an email that's a bit stronger worded. As a non-speaker of English, sometimes I can come across quite abrupt, even if I don't mean to, but just the way that my writing style would be. And I found that an amazing tool for me to kind of say, this is what I want to say, present it in such a way that it is stern, but yet not confrontational. And at the same time, it then presents me with a solution. I can then still reword it.
You still reprompt it and tweak it.
Exactly. Make it sound a bit more like me, because sometimes it comes up and I'm like, yeah, people would seriously know that I did not write this content. But then, for my own stress levels and my cortisol levels, big difference.
Yeah, you're not getting drawn into the emotion of the interaction.
No. And sometimes the outcome's better.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting as well that you say that, you referenced the fact English is your second language, or even third or fourth language. But I think that instantly made me thought of the fact that over the years, times where we have had emails from tenants or landlords, residents or owners, where English isn't their first language, and they've written an email probably actually with the best intent, but because of their framing of the English language, it comes across a bit salty, and you're like, hold on a minute, they're getting a bit.
Look, and as we always say, every email is written in the frame of mind you yourself feel. If you're already agitated and you get an email and you're already kind of ready to go into battle, even if that wasn't meant to be, it's gonna rile you up. And again, I also know when I write an email, we've got to make sure that, it's not about heightening emotions here. It's about coming together, finding a solution. And for me, AI does that. And I'm sure that it does a ton of other things as well that we will learn to use in the business on a daily basis. And we see it, every week there's something else we're starting to use as a solution.
And this is the thing, you're going to get suppliers like we've done with the depository. You're going to get suppliers figure this stuff out and how to embed it, hopefully, effectively to deliver the greatest value for their users. But I think people should be cautious not to rely on the industry. Don't wait. Interesting talking about emails. So another thing they do at Kerfuffle, they did their top 30 innovations. So these are products that suppliers or that are out in the marketplace that people have done. And one thing that Whaley put in that list, and it was actually really refreshing to see, was a product called Fixer AI, which you've probably seen ads for on your social media. They seem to be spending $1 bajillion on social media advertising at the moment, but FYXER.ai. And it is an email automation or streamlining platform. So basically what it does, you sign up, when you get an email, it instantly drafts one or several replies. And then you then go through and go, oh yeah, I like that one. And you can still tweak it, you can still edit it, but yeah, I like that one, send. And literally, Whaley was saying he'd implemented it, and he was like, literally overnight, it reduced the amount of work on his emails by over 50%. And it's not an expensive product. So it just interesting that we kind of drifted onto the email subject there. And I think it was nice to see open market products talked about as well. I think that's something as an industry we sometimes struggle to include in our kind of mix when we're talking about stuff. So we had the chat. So we had the AI chat. I think probably a couple of comments saying that, one thing I found is with a lot of these conferences, a lot of the agents that go tend to be, and not categorically, but tend to be at the upper part of the market in terms of performance. I'm not necessarily talking about fees, but we're talking fundamentally these are agents who proactively go out to learn new things, whether that's ways to do stuff, whether that's technology, suppliers, partners, CRMs, whatever it is. A couple of comments I did have from people on the day was that the content overall was of a great standard, but they would have loved to have had a couple of talks where it was a bit more advanced. And it was it wasn't talking about the basics of, right guys, this is essential kit you need for a video, and this is how you record your first video. Be nice to kind of have a masterclass for like advanced filmmaking. So what's advanced film kit? What are advanced tools you can use? What are advanced approaches to scheduling and delivering your content? So, but yeah, no, it was a really good day. And we got through that. And then Anne arrived.
Yes.
For the best part.
A sweaty mess from the Metropolitan line. I had to walk around Wembley as well. I couldn't find the entrance. That thing's so big. I was on the wrong level.
The amount of people on that day who turned up and were like, "Where's Wembley?" And it's like the big one.
Oh no! I got to Wembley.
Oh no, you did. You did the big stairs, didn't you?
I was like, I'm walking the stairs, and then I got onto the wrong level, and then I just kept walking, and I could not see an entrance open. So.
That was one thing. I think for a match day, you went up the entrance that you would be, which is the big, massive, like forced stack staircase, and it does indeed kind of be like, come this way. No, the conference was kind of under that staircase on the ground floor, which makes it sound like it was a little door. It really wasn't.
There was no signage.
No banners. No signage.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, bless Sarah and David to have pulled that off.
Yeah, in 2 months.
Such little time.
In 2 months. Let's not forget, people, most conferences are booked at least a year in advance. And obviously not all the planning's in place, but that process starts,
Yeah.
lining up
Yeah,
sponsors,
they did a smashing
planning
job
marketing
to
assets
have
and
done it
marketing
that
campaigns. Yeah, and to get that many people there, I mean, I don't know, I would guesstimate there was about 500 people there in total on the day, including agents and suppliers. I'd say it was kind of somewhere in that ballpark, but
I think during the day there must have been more people than the evening.
hard to tell in that space as well.
There's people
though,
you've
'cause different
talked
floors.
about that I didn't see in the
Yeah.
evening.
Oh no, there were definitely people who came just for the day.
Yeah.
There were some people who literally came for the morning, kind of did it up to lunchtime, and then were like, got stuff to do, or and then some did a more typical conference approach, which is let's not get there too early, turn up at a comfortable time, and kind of do what's left of the day and into the evening.
And then there's people like me who just come for the party.
The party princess.
Party queen, please.
You know, yes. And I'm trying to think of a double-barreled cue you can do for partying, but I'm at a miss, so we'll have to stick with party queen. So turned up in the evening. You missed the little break session where we went and toiled and debated highly technical, intelligent debate.
Yes.
At the White Horse pub.
How to lift a pint.
Indeed. How to get the head right on a pint of lager.
Well, they don't do it right here in the UK, is all I'm going to say.
Controversial. Controversial. Who
Belgians
agrees?
have
Disagree?
3 fingers.
So,
just saying.
I've heard that about the Belgians. Christ alive. So we moved into the evening, and if there is one thing Mr. Whale absolutely knows how to put together, it is a party and a good time.
He knows how to party, that man. He does.
So we had people were encouraged. It was the black tie, but people were encouraged to go and kind of refresh and get a bit party vibe. And some people put on some fab outfits. And then we had a nice sit down dinner, and then that led into the Kerfuffle Awards, which was a slightly unexpected part of the evening. Actually, I didn't even realise when we signed up to do the event they were even doing an awards. So that was a nice touch. And so that was split into 2 parts. So we had the Kerfuffle Trusted Supplier Awards.
Yeah.
And that was, as the label says, products that Kerfuffle had spent time analysing reviews and client feedback to establish their own kind of performance metric in terms of satisfaction, kind of like their own NPS score. And then they announced awards on the day. And then they followed those immediately by the Kerfuffle Trusted Agent Awards, which I don't think anyone knew anything about.
No,
evidenced by the fact that about half the agents who won awards weren't even in the room.
Matt Baldock was a good stand-in, though. That man.
Matt Baldock did his service. He accepted awards on behalf of at least 5, if not 10 agents. I think at one point myself and Graham Wilson had a tussle trying to go and steal. Collect. We didn't. We got shut down. What can we say? I think they were worried I might squash Graham Wilson. So I think it was a health and safety move. But
how does that go together with a Simon Whale event?
What, health and safety?
Yes.
No, it's true. It actually makes him break out in hives. If you say it 3 times loudly in his presence, he has mild palpitations. I think it was the fastest award ceremony I've ever been to. I mean, they had definitely taken notes from industry awards of, an hour and a half of 2 hours of announcements. No. My God, were those guys looking to achieve possibly the fastest ever industry awards ceremony on record. And they smashed it out the park.
They did. And it was great fun. And sometimes it can be, a bit boring when you're sat in the public waiting. But also, again, they started with London.
Yes.
Every conference we go to, or every award ceremony.
No, it's dangerous. We can't ever be late. No. Can't ever be late.
I just managed to sit down. Again.
That's our MO. But we were incredibly delighted because we actually picked up an award for each business on the day. So
Yeah.
Depositary won the gold award in the deposit protection space. I did find it quite funny that all three award winners, gold, silver, and bronze, none of us actually protect deposits. Let Alliance, I think I'm getting this the right way around. Let Alliance got bronze, Flat Fare got silver, and we got gold. And none of us actually specifically protect deposits. Sorry TDS, sorry my deposits, sorry DPS. Tough, better luck next time. But no, that was it's always nice to have recognition of the work we do.
Especially because, again, it is based on our customers' reviews.
Which is everything, right?
And that's when you know you're doing something right.
Yeah.
It's actually the people that work with the platform that know what we do, what it says on the tin. It does deliver. Yeah. And so it was wonderful. And as you say, completely unexpected.
Yeah. Really lovely surprise. And then Base picked up a Trusted Agent Award as well, which was a lovely little surprise for our lettings operation. So, a fun day had by all. After the awards, we had a fantastic live band.
Oh, the band was amazing. I mean, I did not leave that dance floor from 9 till 1.
I have not seen you or Carla, but particularly you, I have never seen you two dance that much in an event ever. Like I don't know if you skipped training that morning, but...
No, I trained. I trained that morning. I trained and then but endurance training is really good.
But literally,
for event
because I think the live music started about 9, right?
It started at 9. It went on till 11. Well, actually gone 11 because then Dave
Seed did
DJ
the last
set.
hour and a half
and
DJ set.
That was fantastic.
And again, you did more dancing. I think you and Carla were on the dance floor for, I would wager, 3 of those 4 hours at least. Busting moves.
My legs were sore the next day.
It's a good sign. And that had nothing to do with the Belgian 3 fingers either. No.
The only thing I would say, that end of the event killed me. I have never known anything as brutal as the way the Wembley staff got us out.
Yeah.
Literally 1 o'clock hit. And it was like we were being interrogated.
Yeah.
Every single bright white light came on. Like, there was no hiding anymore. And it was literally, there's the door.
Yeah, I'd seen the floor staff kind of moving, swooping like packs for about half an hour before. Like, literally, anyone put like an empty glass down or a bottle, like, it was gone. You could see they were like, finish, go away. I'm going home. But yeah, literally that 1 a.m. music off.
And then
spotlights
it was a lethal descent.
Yeah, because
on
we
4
weren't meant to hit
escalators.
It
I
was
think
4.
the biggest escalators you have seen with a lot of drunk people
4 big
in high
escalators.
heels.
Some very, very drunk agents. And then. Unlike a lot of sensible people, because obviously we live in London, a lot of people who'd come down had booked rooms and blah, blah, blah. So most people kind of peeled off to a nearby, immediate vicinity hotel room. You and I were left at about 1:30 in the morning trying to navigate the glory of getting a taxi in what is arguably Zombieland at 1:30 in the morning. Yeah. It was an absolute ghost town.
It was.
Despite 3,000 residential blocks there. I think you managed to order an Uber, but it was like a 20-minute wait for it to turn up. Walk, and we were facing the very real possibility, because, we had the added joy my phone had died, so I couldn't order my own Uber. So we were facing the very real possibility that I was going to have to take an Uber all the way to your place, and then take another Uber from your place back home, which at 1:30 in the morning, having got up at 5:30 in the morning, having gone to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, was a bit much. But
as always, you were jammy. And
the luck of the Viking.
The luck of the Viking. A black cab arrived.
Black cab arrived about 5 minutes
as
before.
As if you'd envisioned it. And then he left me all there on my lonesome self.
Yeah, that's how we roll. It's what we do. In hindsight, I probably should have said, "Here, Ron, you take that and change the arrival address of the Uber to my address." That would have been the chivalrous thing to do.
Yeah.
Next time.
So much for a gentleman.
That's my
Viking.
note for Kerfufflecon. Make sure Anne takes first taxi home. You douchebag. Right. So, but it was all in all an amazing day. Heartfelt congrats to the lunatic that is Simon Whale for deciding to do something like that just 2 months before, and for the epic efforts of Sarah and Mincy for actually taking Simon's vision and turning it into a real life child. So yeah, I think I said to them afterwards, I think you both deserve an all expenses paid holiday, at least a week in the Maldives on Kerfuffle. I think Whaley's going to get back to them on that one.
I actually told Sarah, send the questionnaire around to every attendee to ask, do you deserve a salary increase? I'm not sure if Simon's going to be too happy.
No, I don't think he's going to like that. I don't think we're going to win an award next year. I can't think why. But, stay tuned. Time will tell. So we wake up slightly bleary-eyed Friday morning, aching limbs from too much dancing.
I still trained.
She did still train as well. Lunatic. Was it 9 o'clock in the morning on the bike?
9 o'clock.
I wasn't quite as fresh, got to be honest. And then we met up, what was it, about 1ish?
No, it was a bit later by the time I managed to get through.
About 3 o'clock, wasn't it?
Then it was an epic drive.
So we did
from North London to cross London to
what was it?
get
26 miles, 2 hours.
Well, for me, it was actually 2 hours, 40 minutes.
That was from where you picked us up.
2 hours, 40 minutes. I mean, to put that in perspective, that is my total driving time when I drive to Antwerp.
Yeah.
And we've just made it to the other side of London.
I remember the 2 hours was, I think, I seem to remember it was about 26 miles and it was like 2 hours. It's like, cool, we're going to average 13 miles an hour.
I mean, people run this.
Yeah.
Not us, of course.
Yeah.
But like the world champions.
Oh yeah, proper runners. I mean, that was basically a marathon,
Yeah,
right? And yeah, the winners do that in about 2 hours. So what we're saying is next time we hire marathon runners and we ride them like jockeys.
All right.
Done.
Good.
You heard it here first. Charity sponsorship starting, May next year. So we headed down to Dorking. We checked into our lovely little hotel that had been recommended.
Which was lovely, by the way.
Really nice.
Very nice setting. Had a lovely pool to the back.
Nothing too swanky, but yeah, surprise thing was the pool, which thank God we got a message about in the morning going, you do know the hotel has a pool, right? So thankfully took our swimming trunks. Which,
thank you, Vicky.
Yeah. Vicky B. That was a lifesaver the following morning. And yeah, got ourselves down there, got ourselves settled, then got our glam on.
Well, first met up with a couple of people because there was several of us staying
I think we'd taken over probably about half the hotel.
Yeah, so that was lovely to kind of catch up. But we didn't have much time really. No. We had about 2 hours in between arriving and
so about an hour to chinwag, and then about an hour to go and look the best versions of ourselves. Thank Christ for me, they had relaxed the dress code slightly because it's normally black tie. The thought of me being trapped in a dicky bow and dinner jacket in like 35-degree heat did concern me. I must say,
this venue, Yvonne, much better
was stunning
than where we were previous years, because although it didn't have aircon in the main bit where we had our dinner, where the bar was, there was a bit of aircon. And it did feel so much
because we
better.
mentioned aircon, that is one thing as well I will say about Kerfufflecon.
That
venue had amazing aircon, because again, we've all been to conferences and you stick 500 to 1,000 agents and suppliers in a room with not the greatest air conditioning and it gets pretty sweaty pretty quickly. So yeah, no, aircon won the day. Not great for the environment, but great for our comfort. So there we go. Make of that what you will. But yeah, so got down. So like Anne said, stunning location. It was Denbies Wine Estate down in Dorking. So it's one of the largest wine estates in England.
It was beautiful when you drove in.
Driving
to see
through
all
the vineyards in this clear blue, bright sunshine day.
To come to the building, I mean, that building was pretty imposing.
Yeah.
I said that was not at all what I expected a winery in England to look like.
It was nice. It did, and it's always nice those things feel like a special occasion, because it is. Everyone's getting a bit glammed up. They had made the decision this year to take a little bit of a break from the agent entertainment. So those of you who've attended any of recent years, the last few were Epsom's Racecourse, and I think there was, prior to that, was a hotel in London. Most of you will have been subjected to some sort of terrifying performance by me at some point. Jesus Christ, I mean, God.
I'm so lucky I escaped that one last year.
Yeah, you're not going to escape the next one.
What are you going to do the next one?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to stitch you up, because I've done 3 now and you haven't done 1. So what have I done? I did, the first one was singing, Agents Got Talent.
Oh, yes.
The year of Mr. Whale and Mr. Mince's Iconic. And I used that in the most flattering of terms.
My eyes are still burning, those outfits.
Iconic.
It was the
Stand up.
It was the leggings.
So no, they had the I don't know, that stand-up routine, I mean, if you can call it stand-up, was meant to be 3 minutes. I think it was about half an hour.
Of stream of consciousness.
Mr. Whale.
Stream of consciousness based on an entire day of drinking, I think.
If you want to find out more, find people. If it doesn't trigger his trauma, by all means ask David Mintz, but I think you have to establish a safe word beforehand so you know when to turn away from it. So that was my first foray on the stage.
You did Bruno Mars.
I did Bruno Mars, of course.
And you had the pimp outfit.
Fully pimped with Christmas baubles, because I think that one they did, it was in winter, that one.
That was in winter.
And then I think they moved into the summer.
Yeah.
And then, 2 years ago, I got roped in to do the ballroom. And I said I did. I was given rock and roll, baby. So yeah, showed everyone why I didn't train as a musical theatre actor at school.
Don't put yourself down. You did great. You were robbed of that trophy. You were robbed.
What she said.
I'm telling you.
I mean, not really, because Danielle, who won it, was absolutely incredible, and felt like borderline a professional dancer. So feels like you cheated a little bit. So yeah, I was robbed because you're a ringer. And then last night
last year.
Last night, definitely not last night.
You still have that outfit then? Is that what you're telling me?
Shh. Private performances only. But no, last year, myself and, who was it? Ben Madden, Dan Madden, Chris Buckler, and Whaley. Who am I forgetting? Whale and myself. I'd like to say delighted. I'll probably say mildly traumatized and terrified judges and audience alike, with a rendition of us being the Spice Boys. And yes, that's exactly what you think it is. 5 very undynamic men cross-dressing and pretending to be the Spice Girls and trying to do a choreographed dance.
And to put it in perspective, you were Baby Spy.
I mean, obviously.
Why not?
How's that not?
Because you're so dainty.
Dainty, delicate. I think it's my flowing blonde locks and my natural kind of bouncy instep. But yeah, having subjected the industry to the traumas of recent years, they made the very sensible decision this year to go, do you know what? Let's have a little bit of a break. To be honest, I think Yvonne and Vicky probably needed a break from trying to marshal and hoodwink and manage all of us agency people into actually turning up and actually delivering something of substance. So I think it gave them I think that removed a lot of work for them this year of not having to kind of chaperone and marshal that whole process. So they made a decision this year, no agency performance. We were going to have a bit more of a kind of traditional ball in terms of a chat from David Nunes, the chair. We had the industry awards, we had the industry auction, and then really that was it. Then it was on to the raffle, and then live band and more dancing.
And wonderful food, of course. I mean, the food was
cracking.
fantastic.
Food was absolutely cracking, which is
and the
always...
wines. The wine was good.
I mean, you'd like to think so on a wine estate. If they get that wrong, something's really going wrong. But no, I mean, it was lovely. We were sat on the table with Michelle, Chris and Matt from PVS Media, who a lot of you guys will know. They help agents up and down the country with video content, everything from their like also production kind of subscription services you can sign up to bespoke on location filming like they did with us twice last year, and that was amazing to see Michelle walk away with her award for her incredible Brave the Shave fundraise that she did when she was going through.
And she looked amazing.
Cancer, she looked
had
incredible.
The most stunning dress on, hair looked on point. Absolutely fantastic, Michelle. Well deserved.
They were all looking fabulous, and there were obviously numerous very worthy awards won on the day. For a change, it's not typically an awards we tend to enter ourselves into. We do a bit of charity stuff, but we're definitely not one of the most proactive charity fundraisers in the industry. And actually, it was really nice just to sit back and celebrate what our industry does. You know, big agents, small agents, from the southwest to the very north tip of England. It was nice to see all sorts of different things recognised
knowing
within
as well
industry.
How much time and effort that some of these agents go through to do these fundraising and special events. Bearing in mind, when you're running an agency, literally every minute counts, right? And to see that they freely give their time up to raise the kind of money that they raise for agents giving every year is just amazing.
Yeah, so Amy Shields stood up and yet again braved the mic, which is probably her least favourite place to be. But for something that's so important, she makes a point. I think it's definitely the second year in a row she's done that, maybe third.
I wasn't there last year.
But so. Brave the microphone, which, like I said, is as confident and engaging as Amy comes across. Standing up on a stage with a microphone, kind of solo spotlight, not her favourite place to be. So yet again, got up there, did the brave thing, and was there on behalf of Simply Conveyancing, one of the lead sponsors, announcing all of the awards, which was awesome to see. Kirsty Franks went up for Women in Estate Agency, I think.
Yeah.
Or was it
it was all of the girls, because Claire Yates was there. I'm going to forget other people now, but they got the award for the walk for Sarah.
That's right, it was behalf of the walks. That was really lovely.
Yeah.
That was yet another nod to good old Sarah Edmondson. And it was nice to see Women in Estate Agency recognised for more than just the conference and the Facebook group. Actually, that's something really proactive. And I think last time I checked, I think they were hovering around the £80,000
they've done
funds raised mark. I think they were on 77, something like that. So if you haven't already donated, do reach out to Women in Estate Agency. They are still taking donations. They would love to get that up to a 6-figure raise if they can. I think that would be the dream, but they smashed their intended target of 70,000. So if you're a fan of Women in Estate Agency, if you have lost someone or had someone go through the battle of cancer, or indeed you're a dear friend or client of Sarah Edmondson and you haven't contributed a little something, do hop on over to the Women in Estate Agency pages. You'll easily find their fundraising link, make a donation. And in fact, now I've said that, we'll make sure we pop a link in the comments when we post the video so you guys can find that really easily. So again, it was really nice to kind of have that contrast of kind of business day event with Kerfuffle, learning bit of, you know, business and selling and partnering and awards and blah, blah, blah. And then to have a second day, which was purely just about looking at the incredible things that our industry does up and down the country for people from every walk of life.
And amazing to see so many people who were there the day before show up for a second
lot of the
day.
same people. I mean, there were some people who'd even, I think it was, I don't think he'll mind me saying this, it was Dr. Neil Cobbold of Pay Proper Repeat, who blew me away with his diary of the week. I'm not going to reveal everything he'd been up to, but needless to say, Agents Giving was culmination of a very, very, very busy week. And I think we saw him at Kerfufflecon because they were lead sponsor. He was at Agents Giving Ball. The one detail I will release is somehow between those two, he sandwiched in going to Ascot in the morning. So he did Kerfufflecon, was up in the morning, got to Ascot, did a private box at Ascot as a guest, wasn't a repeat sponsorship, and then managed to make it along to Agents Giving Ball in the evening. So, Dr. Neil Cobbold, sir, we salute you. I think you trumped Whaley on celebrationness last week. Bravo, my man. And yeah, so I mean, it was a really lovely, lovely couple of days. That night, it was my turn to dance a lot. I mean, I think you still danced a lot as well.
I still danced, but the legs did feel a bit heavy.
Yeah, I got my boogie on. I'm intrigued to see the photos. I think there's going to be some great photos and possibly some slightly alarming photos. So we'll see. Yeah. Such is my life. Nothing's really changed.
It was all in all an amazing trip with you and Carla. I absolutely
it was a really fun couple of days.
Enjoyed it. It was a bit harsh when at 7 o'clock on the Saturday morning, the fire alarm decided to go off in the hotel.
So as fabulous as our hotel was,
show that we had no qualm about just staying in bed and kind of going like, well, nobody's running.
I think we kind of accepted our fate, hadn't we? We were kind of like, if this is the way we go.
No, I did say we're on the ground floor. We've got a direct access
we had a door
to the
straight
garden.
into the garden.
We can get out. Like, we're not trapped.
But that was painful. I mean, literally, folks, it was the most shrill, like, and it
all
just
the
did
doors
that
banged
solidly for 10 minutes. Like, did not stop, did not break. We did not get out of bed in that whole 10 minutes.
No, I did.
You did.
I did get up. I went to the door. I saw a lot of people sticking
flashed some neighbours and went back inside. No, fully clothed. We're not husband and wife like a lot of people think. We're in a room with twin beds. Our wives would not approve. No, I do find it funny. I can't remember who it was, but someone at Agents Giving Ball did make a comment again. I find it funny. Like 21 years we've been on this journey together, and I still find it funny that people do still think that we are not only business partners but life partners. She's not that mad. Having me as a business partner was quite enough to take on. That and Diana terrifies me. I wouldn't pick a fight with her. She'd crush me, kill me, crucify me using her Greek weapons. So we had a startling 7 o'clock alarm, but unsurprisingly managed to very quickly go back to sleep after that. And then we're up, breakfast, and then like I said, a swim, which I've got to say, after a kind of 48 hours of industry eventing, that swim was definitely needed before the car journey home.
Because then it was yet another 3-hour journey for me to get these reprobates back home. Yeah. And then before I finally ended up
you had to get me back because I was
London.
On daddy duty. I mean, bless, my wife works on Saturdays, so our kids had been chucked with some mates. Turned out, bless them, they thought they were going to play football with their friends. Turns out their football's academy was doing the football awards. They were forced to sit in a park in 35-degree heat for a 3-hour football award ceremony. So I turned up to 2 very hot, very bored, very frustrated kids at about 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon.
There went your idea of, we'll just play
I very nonchalantly said to these guys, do you know what, rule is I'm picking up the kids, we're going home, I'm sitting on the sofa, it's screen time for the kids. Rules go out the window. They can watch and do what they want. I'm doing nothing. That very quickly transpired to Jesus Christ, I need to entertain my children and stop them being so annoyed and frustrated and overheated. So we went swimming. So I packed in a second swim for the day.
Wow.
And yeah, that was the end of the shenanigans.
I have to be honest, I managed to get home, unpack, and then melted into my sofa.
I mean, damn right.
I did not do much more after that.
It's the very thing I wish I could have done. As you know, and then,
life choices matter, but I feel.
I know, man. I'm kind of understanding why in our two businesses I am the only person who has kids. I think those are the office who might have been considering them. I think listens to half my tales of woe and is like, no, I think you know what, you're right. You're right. I'll be an uncle or a godfather. I'll be one of those ones that can, have fun with the kids, play with the kids, get them really hyped up, plenty of sugar, and then go. So I'm off home now. So one thing I did want to talk about, we've talked about what fun we had at them, but one thing that quite often gets talked about online and in industry comments when it comes to these conferences and stuff are the people who don't come, and they kind of don't really get it. They're just a bit like, oh, why do you want to go and spend a day with other estate agents? And why do you want to go and spend a day listening to suppliers? And, why do you want to be with your competitors? And, what does your business get out of doing this stuff? So rather than starting with the conference whore, I think we're going to start with the person who goes to a lot. You turn up to less conferences than I do, and you tend to kind of pick and choose the ones that really sit right for you. So, I mean, obviously, Agents Giving Ball, we've added Kerfuffle in this year, but really, Agents Giving Ball, Esther's, the Neg Awards. Those are really your three, aren't they?
Women in Estate Agency.
Oh, sorry, ladies. Sorry. Gave you some good lip service earlier. Totally wiped you from the record when it came to it. So we've got those four.
Yeah.
So why do you think it's important to go to these events?
It's always lovely to catch up with all the wonderful people that we've gotten to know over the years, and that we've been very privileged actually to call friends now. Forget about being competitors. Also, it's, we work in our patch of the country, patch of the city. The people that we meet are all over the country. They're not just London agents, they're not just London suppliers. There's always something to be learned.
Yeah.
There's always something that you end up talking, something that you might be struggling with yourself, that somebody will say, oh, have you tried this? Or this is how we've done it. This was a solution we put in place. But for me, as a female, I think over the last couple of years specifically, I think that whole drive of us lifting each other up is become more and more visible, but also you feel it. Yeah. You're genuinely happy to see one another, genuinely happy to spend time together. And yeah, always delighted to go to these places now. And I think, you know me.
Look, it's interesting. I think we add in, Kerfuffle this year kind of adds in a slightly different mix. But when you look at the four you've done the last couple of years, like you said, Women in Estate Agency, Agents Giving, Esther's and Negs, I feel like they all deliver something quite different, right? You've got Women in Estate Agency. We know the last couple of years, groundbreaking conference, taking a very kind of personal, introspective look at really what drives people with an agency rather than how do you get more listings or how do you increase your fees, really looking at the people within the business and the personal battles and struggles.
Again, obviously this year I was very privileged to have stood on that stage for them and to be able to share my story. And even like arriving at Kerfuffle, even arriving at Agents Giving, people are still coming up to me going, loved your chat.
And that's 4 months later.
Yes.
4 months later.
I told Kirsty as well when I saw her in Verona on the day of Kerfuffle conference, the amount of women and men, not just women, but men as well, the amount of people, that reached out to say they enjoyed it, but also to share their stories and their struggles and what it meant to them to have listened to it. And that was exactly how I felt when I went to that conference.
So I'd argue that's kind of more a personal and emotional growth kind of conference. Then you've got Agents Giving Ball, which, as we've already touched on, it's just
Charity.
beautiful to celebrate. Again, not focusing on instructions and fees and the renters' rights bill or any of that waffle, but just what our industry does
because our
so
industry
well.
Has such a bad reputation, right?
Yeah.
As in, God forbid you should say to someone that you're an estate agent. I mean, we decided not really to talk about it, but Panorama last night, yet again.
We're going to do a special episode of Panorama. Anne and I, in full, haven't actually watched it. So we're going to watch it. That's going to be our homework this week. And we'll do a little chat about it next week.
But our industry, obviously, the reputation that kind of goes before us, that is not how you and I see this industry.
No, not the people that we see at those conferences and those events.
Not at all. And so therefore Agents Giving is that much more sweet for us.
Yeah.
Because they do raise a phenomenal amount of money. They put in a lot of effort.
And again, it's just a celebration, right? It's everyone coming together to celebrate people doing great stuff, raising some more money on the spot with the auctions and the raffles and all that sort of stuff. And just, again, stepping away from the focus on agency in terms of an operational standpoint and just celebrate the good things. And then kind of quite a big shift over now to the Esters and the Neg Awards. Now the Esters, you and I have been big advocates of the Esters since I think we first entered in 2010?
2010 was the first
2010 was our first entry. 2012 I think was our first award.
Win was gold, yeah. That was a big
and one. Well, you say what you love about the Esters. I'm shoehorning myself into answering my own questions again. Shocker.
As I always say, I love the Esters because it is the one award ceremony that, again, the award is based on the reviews from your clients. Yeah. We have always used it as a prime test to see what we're getting right, what could we tweak. Yeah. What can we do better? And trust me when I say that when we see those reviews, we take it to heart.
Yeah.
There are times where, we're not always perfect. Something gets written and that is then at the back of our mind.
Right?
It stings badly.
That one where we get 4.5 stars instead of 5. And it's like, what did we do wrong?
Bobby actually recently got a review, and the review itself is stunning.
The words.
The tenant is absolutely raving how fantastic, and gave her a 4-star because there are people out there who you can never get to a 5-star.
5-star is perfection. Yeah. 5-star, and that's again. That's
but
the
it's the
difficulty of it, right?
Choice, absolutely.
For them, 4 out of 5. Damn, that's just about as good as it's going to get.
So the Esters, I mean, it's been such a big part, I believe, of our success. As in, it is something that
this helped shape our business.
And I give you credit for that. That was a vision you had. You saw that of this is a way that we can differentiate ourselves. And if we keep hitting this every year, year in, year out, at least get a nomination. I mean, we've done extremely well in that. We're going to need a bigger cupboard.
Like you said, I mean, it was my idea for us to throw our hat in the ring to begin with, but I don't think I never had aspirations outside of a London award. That is for absolutely sure. Never, I don't think necessarily aspired, although obviously, you enter a competition, of course you want to win, but don't, particularly in the early days, had no aspirations around a gold. So, it was nice to pick one up that early. But we had an amazing run from, I think, 2016 to 2020, where we won a Grand Prix each of those years, culminating in the Zoopla Excellence Award. Unfortunately, that was the year of the COVID awards where everything was done digitally.
We were robbed.
Gutting!
We were robbed.
But that was the end of Zoopla's 10-year sponsorship of the awards, and they decided they wanted to recognise the agents with the best score over the 10-year period. And that was an incredible moment for us to walk away with the Gold Lettings Award, the Gold Excellence Award.
Yeah. And obviously over the years we've gotten to know Simon and Sarah amazingly well.
I know what I've always said. I love the purity of the awards. it is just an awards. And with the greatest respect to your kerfuffles, your negs and your EA masters, with all the thought leadership and stuff, it is lovely to go along to an event that isn't all about suppliers selling to you. I'll put my other hat. Isn't all about suppliers selling to you, isn't all about, like I said, thought leadership or, new ways to earn more money or get more listings. It is just an outright and at times quite outrageous collection of 1,000 to 1,200 agents celebrating a year of bloody hard work and some amazing results.
And it is the one where we take the entire team as a way of giving back to the team to say, you guys have done a brilliant job. This is a party now, Let's just have a great time eating, drinking and being merry.
And then the last one you attend is traditionally one of the last events of the year, and that is the Negotiator Conference and Awards. And again, we typically divide our efforts. I turn up for the conference part of the day. You and Carla typically both join for the evening celebrations. And what kind of stands out to you about that? I mean, obviously that's a slightly different voting process. So Esther's is kind of using feedback.
Obviously, it's based on an application.
And this is a panel of our industry peers.
We take Carla and Tris with us because, they help and work completely on those applications. And it's obviously very detailed. You're kind of selling your company, as in you're setting it up why you should be getting that award. And again, it just brings... That is again suppliers and agents. It's a bit of mix of everything in the middle of centre of London in a stunning venue. It almost feels like coming home by now.
And you've got that glam in the evening. They do the black tie.
It's the black tie. It's a bit more.
So it's a little bit more formal, a little bit more glam. Esther's is fairly glam, apart from weirdos who turn up in Viking outfits.
But obviously, Esther's is an afternoon thing, so you arrive from about 12. Well, we start with a champion's breakfast at about 11. By the time we then get, and that finishes at 6, 7 in the evening. Whereas the Negs, that's an evening event.
Yes, We have the conference during the day, 9 till 4 or 5 conferences, and then a couple of hour break for the reset. And
normally
then I think it kicks
6 to 7 o'clock. You kind of get that.
And then on to carriages. And then on top of those, I also typically go to the EA Masters, which is always a great one, organised by Peter Knight and the team at a property academy. So again, that's a mixture of loads of suppliers, lots of thought leadership throughout the day, and then you kind of have that break again, not a bigger break as the other ones, but a little bit of a reset, and then it moves into dinner and awards in the evening with the estate agent guide, winners all being announced. And I think, like I said, there's a lot of people out there who poo-poo the conferences, poo-poo awards. Will often be like, oh, why do you waste that time, your time doing that? And I think the only thing I would say to the naysayers is, and some of this is going to reiterate what you've already said. So when it comes to awards, you're right. The Esters, the Negs, the EA Masters, the Kerfuffle Awards, they're not the Oscars. You're not going to stick it on your website. You're not going to walk through a client's door and go, do you know what? We've got a Kerfuffle Award. And they're going to turn around and go, you don't. Sign you on the spot. And yes, you can argue that there are nuances about how many agents are in this and how many agents are that and who decides this and who decides that and we sold this quicker and we sold... It is another benchmark. It is another metric that you as an agency, at the very least, aspire to deliver the best possible service you can.
It does no harm that you can say we are an award-winning letting agency. The amount of times that I go out and do appraisals and I meet new clients, the amount of times that they actually bring that up and ask me, oh, in your signature you have these awards, what is that about? Or they will basically say, when I searched for an agent, it was the thing that really grabbed my attention. And then I looked further at that.
So, I mean, that's a really interesting point. And actually, I had a really interesting talk a couple of weeks ago about AI and how AI now searches and validates and qualifies data. And fascinatingly, when it comes to estate and letting agents, one of the things that AI holds in high regard is awards. Mm-hmm. So because it looks at those as independently certified things that are awarded based on a reasonable level of merit. All the major awards carry a certain foundation of legitimacy to the criteria that delivers those awards and a decent segment of the market. So, when it comes to awards, think about that. If nothing else, I think the two primary reasons we like to do it is, number one, what it means to the staff. I don't think I've ever seen a more joyous reaction. Excuse me. I don't think I've ever seen a more joyous reaction than some of our big wins at the Esters. Like when we won our first Grand Prix award back in 2016, I mean, the way our table exploded. Yeah. Anne and I were happy, but times that by 5 for what it felt and looked like it meant to our team. So if you want to keep your team engaged and driven and motivated and bought into your agency, your brand, your mission, that's what winning an award delivers. And the other side of that is it is just another way to benchmark and legitimize the way you convey how good you are at your job. Because as we all know, every agent up and down the country says that they're the best thing since sliced bread and they're doing things differently and they've started their agency because they didn't like the tired old way that agency's done. Doesn't always measure up to the hype. So it's just another way to reassure that consumer. They'll be looking at reviews, and that's the nice thing with the Esters. You get both bangs for your buck. You get your reviews and you get awards in one thing. So if you want to focus on that, do reach out to the Esters team, find out a little bit more about that. So that's what I would say about the awards. With the conferences, if you're not, I genuinely think if you're not trying to educate yourself and learn from other people who've got boots on the ground, not people who have written a book, not people who just stand up on a stage and pontificate about the hypotheticals, or who are a sales expert, but that could be selling anything from air conditioning to bottles of Coca-Cola to a house. Forget the speakers on the stage. For me, the speakers are kind of a bonus. I find personally, like there are nuggets that I will take out. I will go to maybe 1 in 4 talks in a conference. And from those talks, I will take nuggets from that. But where I get my greatest value is spending time talking to other agents. And those are agents from, as Anne said earlier, down the street, people who would be perceived as competitors. And some of those agents, the likes of Paramount Properties and Location, are 2 companies which in theory, we're direct competitors. We're all very lettings focused. Location are in, and we're both in Hackney. Paramount is whole London. We do a lot of knowledge sharing, a lot of chatting, a lot of chin wagging. You get so much out of that. If you don't come out with a new product or a new service, you'll come out with a new way to handle a difficult situation with a member of staff, or a really tricky landlord, or, we were confronted with this issue, whether it's compliance or a fine or whatever it is, and this is how we mitigated it, and this is how we made sure that's never going to happen again. If nothing else, it reassures you that the madness and the mad things that we go through in a 365-day year doing the jobs that we do, you're not alone. Almost nothing you're being confronted with, good or bad, is unique to you or your business or your situation. Someone has been through it before and someone's going to go through it after you. So don't get too hung up on trying to hang a value of, if I go and I spend 500 quid on ticket and travel, then I need to know I'm going to add at least £1,000 to my business. Get away from that and just try and think about, if I could come away with 3 things from a conference, what would I want those to be? What are the 3 kind of problems or opportunities that I want to solve or maximize on? And then establish whether that's a conversation you're going to have with an agent or a conversation you're going to have with a supplier. Because also, again, at conferences, like it or not, you've got 10, 15, 20, 30 suppliers ram-packed. So if you want to figure out what's coming and what's new, catch up with your own suppliers face-to-face rather than via email and over the phone. Actually have eyeball-to-eyeball chats, maybe about stuff that's not too easy to talk about, but sometimes it's easier to do it face-to-face than, like I said, over an email or a phone call. Whatever it is, just go. If you ask around, if you are a conference virgin, I think reach out to the broader, let's call us the conference community. There's a good chunk of us. I think between us, if you want to find out which is the best conference to kind of pop your cherry, depending on your conference cherry, nothing else. Look, we're not back on your Belgian 3 fingers now.
Oh, God.
So if you want to pop your conference cherry and you're not sure which is the conference to do, reach out to any one of us. There's a whole heap of us, and just say, look, this is me as an agency. This is what I really want to get. Where should I go? And not only can we probably tell you, do you know what? I think this is where you should start. But knowing people and sponsors in it, we might even be able to help you get a bit of a discounted ticket to go along. So, I mean, as usual, I think I've probably covered about 80% of that conversation. Our chat that was meant to end at 4 is now 4:40. So let's keep this to half an hour. Has ended up as an hour 10. Smashing it again, Byfield, keeping things short and to the point. Annika, always a pleasure.
Always a
never
pleasure,
a chore. And we promised this week to watch Panorama and throw things at the telly and gather our thoughts and try not to talk about it for an hour, but we'll come back next week and we'll have a little chin wag about Panorama and the fallout. And also I think we'll have a little look about what kind of comes out in the wash over the next week. Like I said, there's been a lot of agents jumping on, sharing their disgust, and some offering a bit more of a measured approach, softly. But we'll have a little chat about that next week. Guys, thanks a lot, and we'll have some more guests coming soon. We've booked in some guests in the coming weeks. We've got Chris England booked in, I think, back end of August. The shy, retiring, and highly unopinionated Mr. Russell Quirk will be joining me at some point. Don't worry, I'm going to give him a tough time. I've really stitched myself up now. There is a third guest I've locked in, but I'm going to pretend it's a surprise. If you're interested in being a guest and there's literally anything you want to talk about, but it's an interesting topic, please reach out directly, message, socials, comments, whatever. If you want to come and say hi, not scary, you can do it here in Shoreditch.
Bring your own timer.
Bring your own timer. Block out your diary. But we can do it like we do this in person. You're welcome to come and join us in Shoreditch, or we can jump online. But guys, thanks a lot. That's another Viking Chat done. Annika.
Thank you.
Laters. Bye-bye.